Welcome to FX Options University, recorded live at the International Securities Exchange, the world's largest equity options exchange. Join the industry's top trading professionals as they provide insight and strategies for trading in the currency markets using FX options. FX options are a low-risk alternative to hedging currency moves in any market condition.
Welcome, everyone. This is Steve Meisinger, your host for today's ISC webinar. Today I'm pleased that we have Dan Passarelli with us. Dan was a former market maker at the CBOE. Dan was an instructor at the CBOE. Not only that, he was an instructor for the OIC, the Options Industry Council. Dan has many, many years of options experience. There isn't a question that you would ask Dan that he wouldn't be able to answer. Dan's an excellent source of options knowledge. And he also has a business called Market Taker Mentoring, and you can contact him at markettaker.com. So Dan's going to present Navigating the Sea of Volatility with FX Options. The brief disclaimer, just so that everyone knows that options, of course, have some risk, and that everyone should read the characteristics and risks of standardized options. If you want to learn more about options, you might want to go to optionseducation.org. Taxes, margin, and commission are not included in any of the examples today, and this presentation is for education only, so it should not be construed as any investment advice. The ICFX option symbols, well, we have many different pairs, whether it's the Australian dollar, the Brazilian real, British pound, Canadian dollar, euro, yen, Mexican peso, New Zealand dollar, Swedish krona, and the Swiss franc. We also offer a couple of them, the Australian, British pound, euro, and New Zealand dollar in both dollar quote and dollar base convention. So either way, you could trade them like the spot as the Australian dollar, US dollar, or you can trade it dollar-based, US dollar, Australian dollar. You just need to remember the symbol. So AUX would be dollar-based, and the spot currency convention would be AUM. Similar for BPX and GBP for British pound. EUI, dollar-based, EUU would be the spot currency convention, and similar for New Zealand dollar. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce Dan Passarelli.
Hey,
and thanks for joining us today.
Hey, thanks. I'm glad to be here. Thanks for the kind introduction.
You're welcome.
All right, so good evening or afternoon, as it were, everyone. As Steve kindly introduced me, I'm Dan Passarelli, founder of Market Taker Mentoring, LLC. And here's what we're going to talk about today. The title of the presentation is Navigating the Sea of Volatility with FX Options. So here's the thing. I get a lot of calls from people wanting to learn options, whether it's FX options, stock options, or what have you. There's volatility across the board. I mean, you know, the level of the VIX as of today, 23, last time I checked, right around there. That's a little lower than it was 6 months ago, but it's high. I mean, it's historically high. Volatility in FX, in interest rate products, in agricultural products is crazy. People are always calling me up and asking me about volatility and how it works. And, you know, lots of questions, particularly about how volatility affects options. And there's kind of good news and bad news. The good news is options and volatility go hand in hand. You can use options to both create and manage and reduce volatility. The whole nature of option pricing is centered around volatility. But the bad news is, you know, it's you kind of have to put in a little bit of time, and you have to learn about this stuff in order to really be able to use it. If you are a trader who trades FX options, you can use the volatility component of those options to your advantage if you know how. So here's what we're going to do today. We're going to go through volatility and how it affects options, Vega, and how to analyze volatility. And, this is not for the faint-hearted. If you're new to options, strap on your seatbelt because this might be kind of a wild ride for you. It's maybe an intermediate presentation, but, I like to go slow so that I can catch people up who are a little bit newer. So, don't worry about that if you are new. Stick around and you're going to learn a lot. Towards the end of the presentation, we're going to have a little bit more of a discussion that's really kind of more centric to FX options per se. And, I can answer some questions. I'll stick around after the presentation to answer questions both about the stuff we've discussed in the presentation and also about Market Taker Mentoring LLC. We'll talk a little bit about that as well.
Thank you for participating in this week's session. Please join us again next week. Get trading ideas, exchange rates, webinars, news, and commentary. Visit www.fxoptions.com. ISE FX options can be easily traded through all options-enabled brokerage accounts. These exchange-listed securities are cash-settled in U.S. dollars and have a European-style exercise.